What's happening, everyone? My name is James Lynch, and my year-end coverage for the UFC continues on this channel as we look back on the year that was. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the worst decisions, the worst scorecards for 2024. And just to give you an idea, Tapology does their fan voting every year. They have the worst robberies. And some of these on here, honestly, I don't think were robberies. Like Movsar Evloev, Arnold Allen, don't think it was a robbery. Thought it was a close fight. Same thing with Pantoja and Usyk. So I'm going to give you my top five, and I'll give you some honorable mentions. These are scorecards that, in my opinion, were not that great. I'm going to tell you how I scored the fight in terms of the rounds, and then we're going to go to MMA decisions and see how the media scored that fight as well. So we're going to start first at number five, one that is on the Tapology list and I think does deserve some criticism, and that was Christian Rodriguez's win over Isaac Dulgarian back at UFC Fight Night 2 of Asa Tybura. That was back in March. Looking on my scorecards, because I wrote them down here, I had Dulgarian winning the first two rounds, Rodriguez winning the third, but I thought it was pretty clear that Dulgarian did win the fight. I know he faded a bit as the fight went on, and I'm not alone here. If you look on the media scorecards here on MMAdecisions.com, you'll see that the majority of media, not a single media member scored the fight for Christian Rodriguez. Two media members scoring the fight a draw, everyone else scoring it for Dulgarian. So that comes in at number five. And by the way, this list is also based off of significance as well, like notable names. I didn't just go with prelim fighters. I did a mix of bad decisions, in my opinion, as we're sort of going through the list here. Okay, so that's number five. Let's get to number four. This is one that I think people might forget, but this was one where I don't think the fighter that won a single round of this fight. You guys let me know in the comments if you agree or not. And I like the guy a lot. I wish he did get the win because I enjoy interviewing him, but that is Austin Hubbard and Michael Figlak. I don't think Hubbard won a single round of this fight. I had Figlak winning this entire thing. That was UFC Fight Night Nicolau Perez back in April. This one kind of flew under the radar because, again, there's so many events and, it's hard to keep track of every single fight. But this was one where I felt like the judges did get this one wrong. This I think falls in the robbery category. If I don't think you won a single round in a fight, I think that counts as a robbery. And I'm not alone here on the media scorecards and MMA decisions. They agree. Not a single media member scoring the fight for Austin Hubbard. Everyone having it 29-28 for Figlak. I would have gone 30-27, honestly. I remember watching that fight and thinking, I don't really know how Austin Hubbard won that fight, but that's one of the interesting things there. So that's one coming in at number four for me. Okay, number three. I know this one really was, soured a lot of people in terms of the decision on this one, mainly because they had money on this fighter. But that is William Gomis defeating Joe Anderson Brito. This one was, again, a fight where I did score the fight for Brito. I had Brito winning rounds 1 and 2, Gomis winning round 3. And this comes on the list as well because I think people forget Brito had a nice win streak coming into this fight. He was a huge favorite, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was like minus 340. So he doesn't get the win there. And he had, like I said, like a 5-fight win streak coming into this one. So losing a bad decision like that, it really does hurt the career of a fighter like Joe Anderson Brito, who he's only 29. He looks a lot older, if I'm being honest. But that was one where I think they got it wrong. And then if you look at the media scorecards as well, and again, this isn't the be-all end-all. I'm just giving some context here. That was back at the Moicano Saint Denis card, UFC Paris. This was in Paris, by the way, too. So that's something to keep in mind. Gomis, obviously the French fighter. You look, just 3 media members scoring the fight for Gomis. Everyone else scoring it for Brito. So I thought Brito won two rounds to 1. I think people were pretty much in agreement with that. It wasn't like a 30-27 situation. So that for me comes in at number 3. Okay, number 2. This might actually be number 1 on a lot of people's lists, but because just with the significance and everything. And I debated putting this in the number 1 spot, but I'll tell you why I didn't in a second here. And that is the one that we all talk about when we think of robberies. It's in the thumbnail. It's Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. Even Dana White came up to Volkov and thought, you know what, I don't think he won the fight. I had Gane winning. I think you could give Gane round 1, but I think 2 and 3 were clearly Volkov's. And that was, again, back at UFC Gane versus Volkov, the Fight Night card that took place. And I just think that's... Oh, sorry. You know what? I'm looking at the wrong one here. Let's get the proper one up here. I had the wrong... this is the one I'm looking for. I was going to say Fight Night. It was UFC 310. So it was this fight right here. Because they fought twice, obviously. And Gane was a much bigger favorite this time around, minus 375. And I don't think he won. I thought Volkov should have got the nod. And looking at the media scorecards, same sort of thing here. You look at it there, just 1 media member scoring the fight for Cyril Gane. Everyone else scoring it for Volkov. I don't really know how you could score that for Gane, but teach their own. It was just a weird fight. Remember with the grappling and everything else. And I thought Volkov comfortably won this fight, but every now and then you get some judging that is a little bit off. So Yeah, I think that's one. Again, the significance of this is huge, right? Because let's say Gane wasn't injured, he's probably fighting Tom Aspinall next with the simple, if the Jones fight doesn't happen, obviously. But, Gane, Aspinall could make sense. It's a fresh matchup, all that stuff. When in reality, I don't think he won the fight. And I think people want to see a Volkov rematch more because people think he won. The Volkov rematch with Aspinall, that is. So this has big implications on the heavyweight division. This is one of the ones where, if you get, like, for example, the Hubbard and Figlak fight, that's not a huge deal because, like, neither fighter is, like, really high up neither are ranked. They're not high in the rankings. This, though, I mean, you're talking about the winner potentially fighting the interim champ. So big implications here. But I'll tell you why I didn't put this one number one. And this is number one. And I'm sure you'll remember this one as I bring it up right now. And I like this guy a lot, too. Another guy that I enjoy interviewing. He's awesome. And I picked him ahead of this fight. And I look like a fool because I don't think he won. And that is Fakhretdinov and Carlos Leal. Again, another fight where I did not score a single round for Fakhretdinov. I thought Leal won every single round. And he was a big underdog coming into this one, plus 185, or decent underdog, I should say, slight underdog, as they're saying on here. And again, I had all 3 rounds for Carlos Leal. You might disagree, by the way, if you guys disagree with me on some of these scorecards, that's fine. I'd like to hear your scorecards looking back at the fight. But I remember watching this and going, man, I can't believe I picked Renat. He's going to lose this. And then he ends up winning. That's one of those situations where, and this will happen when you're predicting fights. Sometimes you'll get some luck. This was luck on my end, but I can still call it like it is and be transparent and honest with you guys here. I don't think Renat won that fight. And I'm not alone on the MMA decision scorecards either. Same deal. Not a single media member scored the fight for Renat. Majority scoring at 30-27. So I'm not out on an island on this one. Clearly thought that Renat lost that fight. So that is my number one. And the reason I put that one ahead of Gane and Volkov is simply because I think there's a world where you could give Gane round 1 in that fight. Now, do I think he won the fight? No. And obviously that's more significant than this fight, but I don't think Renat won a round in this fight. Personally, I know there's a couple media members here that had 5 of them had it for at least 1 round for Renat. I'm not in that camp. I felt that Renat lost every single round. So again, that's just my opinion, but that's coming in at number 1 for me. Fakhretdinov and Carlos Leal, to me, was the worst decision this year. Slight edge over the Cyril Gane and Volkov fight. Okay, let's do a couple honorable mentions. There'll be a few in here. This was one that I forgot about when I went back and looked at everything. How about Puja Tomar, sorry, the women's fight. And this is another one where everyone, if you look on MMA decisions, pretty much everyone, all the media members scored the fight for Dos Santos in this fight. And that was back in June on the Cannonier Imavov card. Yeah, I don't know about that. That was a pretty bad decision, but didn't make my top 5 for the simple fact that they're not really well-known fighters. Here's one a bit more notable. I don't think this was necessary. I mean, I really thought they were going to go the other way on this one, but this is another one where, I think that there's a case to be made. Well, here, I'm just going to show it to you right now as I'm trying to get my window up here. Some of the computer's not going the way I like it. But this one, I still don't know if it's a robbery, but it was a very close fight, and that was Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington. I thought Pennington won the fight. Actually, looking at my scorecards here, I had Pena winning at least 2 rounds, but I thought Rocky won 3 rounds in this fight, looking at my scorecards. So that's another one. And again, a lot of significance here because we have a new champion, but don't know if that one is necessarily a robbery. And even like another one that I know people are going to bring up on this list, I guess I'll put it as an honorable mention just because it got so much attention. But you know which one I'm going with here? Potentially. Actually, maybe you don't. I'm going to leave you hanging for a second here because I got to bring up the menu. Mario Batista and Jose Aldo. I don't think this was a robbery personally. I just think it was really close. And of course, Batista getting a lot of hate for that decision. But, it's one of those tough things. Like, do you go for the win, or do you go for, do you go for broke and make it entertaining? In the case of Batista, he went more for a strategic one and got the nod there. Just to give you an example or an idea, of how the media scored that one. I'll bring that scored card up here because I know a lot of people are going to talk about it. So this one we'll mention just quickly. So we're going to wrap things up. Again, it was like split in half. Like, I think Aldo got slightly more votes, but wasn't like out to lunch. Most people thought it was 29-28. And then one more I'll throw out here because I do hear his fans call robbery on this one. And I'll mention it on here just because it was a pretty notable fight, and it happened to take place earlier in the year, and that was Duplessis and Sean Strickland. But if you look at the media scorecards, Yeah, this one was kind of split down the middle too. I kind of put this in the same category as Batista Aldo. It was close. I don't think it was a robbery. I just think it was a really close fight. So those are my decisions that I think were the worst scorecards, worst decisions of 2024. Let me know in the comments what decisions you thought were bad this year. Maybe I missed some. There's a whole bunch of fights we could go through. I just went with 5 that I thought were the most notable. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my picks or any of my scorecards that I've had here. Again, let's have a fun discussion about this. It's always fun to talk about the judging. And yeah, let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.